News Channel 5 Network. This is Score on Business.
Hey, welcome to Score on Business. I'm Pete Hendricks. I'm your host, and make sure to check out scorenashville.org. We at Score are here to help entrepreneurs get going. So our first guest today, Charles Alexander, is the director of the Tennessee Small Business Development Center at Volunteer
State.
It's
a mouthful.
Yeah, during the daytime. We're competitors. Well, not really. Yeah. But he has a side business doing animated video for businesses to put on their website. And I like to have entrepreneurs that work full-time on the show. Is starting a business is easier when you don't have to worry about paying the mortgage.
It helps.
Yeah. So, Charles, before going into the questions I have, you're helping me with a video for my website. And one thing that really impressed me and kind of took away any concern I had is, I was saying, well, what if the script isn't quite right?
Sure.
And you said, usually it goes smoothly, but once I take a customer's money, I work with them until it's the way they want. And that's how I do. I try not to sell anything that's not going to work well.
Sure.
But you got to take care of customers. I just really appreciated that.
Well, you're very welcome. That's one of the niches I like to focus in on, is to actually, when you take somebody on, you're going to see it through
exactly. You don't change horses in the middle of the river. So, what is animated video, and what are some specific ways that people can use video to get new business?
Animated video is simply a 2D version of a video. So, right now, if you'll take a look at Facebook or LinkedIn, there are a ton of people, business people, that are staring straight into the camera, talking in a monotone voice for 10 minutes at a time. What I do is totally different. It's basically a cartoon or even a whiteboard video. So we'll take somebody's business, their idea, who they target, and help develop a 90-second story. And it's all animated, and it wraps up in a short period of time. And it's a lot easier to outsource for that business owner. So I target financial advisors, insurance agents, real estate agents, and it doesn't take any of their time. They simply outsource it to me. I write the script, I take care of everything for them. They get to approve the video. No downtime for them. They don't have to be on camera. So ways that they can use it, the layups are social media, obviously. Everybody loves to post videos to Facebook, Instagram, to even Snapchat. However, the prime areas for a lot of the people that I target, the really neat ways that a lot of other folks aren't using, is through email. Through your email marketing. You put it in your email newsletter.
That's a good idea.
Well, in your email follow-up, if somebody calls Pete and wants to know a little bit about your services, you could send them your capability statement, which anybody else would do. It'd be 2 pages of generic whatever, but you could also send them a 90-second video. You could take the same video and put it in your email signature. Very few people do that, and when you do that, folks are curious. They'll click through and they'll watch it.
Well, one of the reasons that I wanted to do animated video for my business is I do a lot of things, and it can be hard to explain, and I think that animated video can explain it easier than I could.
Yes, and that's for a lot of complex services, or even some of the more simple services. You ever go to a networking event and you meet somebody? You smile, you say hello, you exchange pleasantries, and instead of getting a simple 60-second elevator pitch, they give you what seems to be maybe their life story, and after 10 minutes you still don't know what they do. This cuts that out. Right.
And then also for folks, it is less expensive.
Oh, by far, yes.
I mean, if people are recording video with their iPhone and putting that on their website, that's probably not a great idea.
It can be if you're the right person with the right audio and you do some editing to it. That'd be one thing I often try to explain to people. If you're going to do that, A, be good at it. B, edit the thing. Don't just ramble on for 10-minute sessions. And it does go counter to, let's say, a Facebook Live session. They tell you it has to be 10 minutes, which is fine, but it still needs to be engaging. It needs to be moving. It needs to be more story-based and less just rambling facts.
Well, if I were going to put video on my website, I would want professional video.
Sure.
And that's what, $3,000 or so?
For a lot of, yes, and that's usually a starting point.
Yeah.
Used to be the rule of thumb was about $1,000 per minute, and that's
Right.
actually gone up.
Yeah.
I'll tell people, even folks that I want to work with, if you can get on camera, if you can do it, if you can speak and you can be eloquent, you can tell a story,
Right.
do that, because people will learn to see you, hear you, know you, like you, trust you.
Right.
If that's going to be any sort of problem and you don't have the downtime, you may want to outsource to doing an animated video or a whiteboard video.
Right. That makes a lot of sense as well. So, what are some do's and don'ts for creating a video?
Well, we'll start with the don'ts, and I'm trying to find a nice way of saying don't suck.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
lot of people violate that regularly. I've already kind of hit on a few of those points. One
Yeah.
of the big ones is bad audio.
Right.
We will watch a grainy video with good audio. If it's a great video Spielberg-esque
Yeah.
and it's bad audio, we're not watching.
Right.
It's just, you can't do it. A few other things that, like I said, is when they're not going anywhere, they're not story-based, they're
Right.
not paced very well. So that goes to the do's. I always make my videos story-based. I don't know if you've talked to or ever heard of Donald Miller here in Nashville with Story Brand. Fantastic business, and they
Yeah.
specialize in helping people tell stories.
Right.
And it goes to the old Joseph Campbell research that shows you how to have the actual person who's in peril, the helpful guide, and the happy end. And that's what I try to teach my clients. So if you're going to create your own video, tell a story. Don't be the hero of the story. The
Right.
client is the hero.
Yeah.
If it's like Star Wars, Luke Skywalker is the hero. You're not Luke Skywalker. You're Yoda.
Yeah.
You're going to help guide him to the Force, through the issues they have, and to the happy ending when they defeat the villain. And in most cases, the villain is going to be concerned, being overwhelmed of not being able to make a decision. So I'm going to use this financial advisor and be, happy at the end, because we're going to
Yeah.
have some peace of mind. That's
Well,
what I tell them.
Human beings like stories. And,
Of course.
The stories are really the way to communicate. And it goes back, heck, to the Bible. There's a lot of teaching there that is story-based.
Everything Jesus talked about was, parables.
So it's not like this is something new.
Cavemen put drawings on the wall.
Yeah.
As far as we know, they didn't, they just grunted at each other, but they put drawings. And that's actually one of the things Donald Miller says. If people go to your website and it can't pass the grunt test, as in 5 seconds they can't figure out what's going on, they're
Yeah.
going to leave.
Right.
Same concept. You need to be story-based, make them engaged. That, going back to those do's, do have good audio, do be fast-paced,
Right.
do use graphics, do use text.
Right. That makes sense.
I agree.
Yeah, that makes sense. So talk to us about the small business development centers. And, you work there in the daytime.
Sure.
This show, the purpose of Score on
Right.
Business is to help educate Middle Tennessee entrepreneurs.
Correct.
You all are doing some great things there. I jokingly said
Sure.
we're competitors, but, you all...
There's more than enough work for
Yes.
you, us, and 10 other entities
Well,
just
one
like it.
thing with the small business development centers, the people who are staff, the people are
Right.
paid, and so well, tell us about it.
So the Small Business Development Center, we're funded by the SBA just like you guys. One thing I like to tell people is that the Small Business Administration estimates about 50% of businesses don't make it in their first 5 years. I've seen a lot of other studies that say it's even closer to 60 or 70%. So if you take somebody like me with children that are ages 9, 6, and 5, all with an entrepreneurial spirit, it's scary, because now I know that 2 of them are going to be living in my basement forever. So that is where you and I come into play.
Right.
We meet, we do one-on-one business advising with small business owners, or even soon-to-be small business owners. And we also offer low-cost, in some cases, free workshops geared toward
Yeah.
helping those same small business owners. And I've been doing that for just a little over 11 years. And have a geographic footprint of just north of here, but we have offices in Nashville and Murfreesboro, East Tennessee, West Tennessee, and we all have the same
Well,
mission.
there are 12 of them, right?
15.
15 of them. When people want to think about starting a business, they don't realize what's involved.
They see, yes, they get excited.
Yeah.
They dream big. They ask friends and family who are always supportive and tell them how
Yeah.
great it is, no matter what it is. And they don't necessarily have the experience to figure out how much capital is going to
Right.
take, how many hours it's going to be, and they always overestimate how much money we can make out of the get-go.
Yeah.
So we'll always ask somebody to come to starting a small business workshop first. So for 2 hours, we lay it down very concretely. This is what it
Yeah.
looks like. This is what you need to have in place before you get going. And
Right.
it helps to, what's a nice way of saying, not weed out, but helps to
Well, you
really
need to-
make folks understand what's involved.
Yeah. You know, like if somebody comes and says, you know, I want to go into business for myself because I want to have more free time. That's not the reason.
Long term, that's
Yeah.
fine. If that's your 5 or 10 year goal.
Yeah.
First 2 to 3 years, 80 to 90 hours is
Yeah.
not uncommon. If you're doing that
Right.
at 10 years, you'll have a haircut like mine.
Right.
The idea being on the front end, even though your value system probably looks a lot similar to
Yeah.
everybody else's, faith, family, and friends, then your business,
Yeah.
which is totally normal, but you're going to have to rearrange some things to get that business up to a point where
Yeah.
it's fully managed and, hopefully debt free and creating cash flow.
Awesome. Charles, thanks so much for being
Thank you,
here
sir.
today.
I appreciate it.
Yes. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Awesome.